saying, look, HBO, Warner Bros., you want to make some money? Just let Snyder finish it the same way that you did a director's cut for Watchmen. Let Snyder come back and do his version of the movie he started in the first place. Whether it's going to be awesome or whether it's not, that's another thing. I think it'll be much better than the Whedon cut for a plethora of reasons. Specifically, I think the main reason that I think it'll be better in general is because it won't be multi-tonal. It won't be like these scenes are super dark and serious and realistic, and then these feel like the Avengers, for instance, which I'm not, me, I love the Avengers. But when you have very, very hard contrasting cinematic styles, storytelling styles, scripting styles, it feels like a Frankenstein. And that's kind of what the Justice League movie felt like to me, and many others. So you can see that right here. My guy, movies that mar with the king. He says, amazing. I'm emotional right now. So many people are excited about this, including myself. This sparks a question in my mind, and I hope that you guys can try to answer this in the comments because I want to hear your thoughts. The great debate has been whether or not you should just let a movie be, or if you should should filmmakers make films for the love of filmmaking, or should they make movies for the fans? And a third question is, does that have to be mutually exclusive? Does it have to be just one or the other, or can you have both? I think that making, and I think in Zack Snyder's case, doing the Snyder Cut is actually allowing him to fulfill the vision he started as a filmmaker, even though it was tampered with, obviously, by the studio. They saw Avengers making billions of dollars, and they were like, you got to make an Avengers instead of doing Man of Steel, Man of Steel 2, Man of Steel 3. They shifted his focus from that to Batman vs. Superman, and then again to Justice League. But he had a vision for those films even as he was adapted, until situations happened, and then he had to get pulled from the project. Not had to get pulled, but he left the project. I think filmmaking for the love of filmmaking, storytelling for the love of storytelling, and then giving the fans what they want, you can do both. If you yourself are a fan of the sort of that material, of that thing, you can make something that is visionary, something that is made for the love of making it, and still have it please the fans. I don't think it's mutually exclusive. You might, and if it is, answer the question whether or not you think it should be, giving the fans what they want. Because again, fans are customers. We're the ones paying for this. We're the ones that pay for the tickets, pay for the people front money so they can get a bigger return. That's how filmmaking works. We are that bigger return. So if we don't go see that film, they stop making the films. But if we're telling the studio, hey, we want Zack Snyder's version of the film. We didn't want the botched Franken-Whedon. That's a funny name for it. We didn't want the botched Franken-Whedon cut. We wanted the Snyder version of the film because he started it. It was his project. He should have been the one to complete it. Unfortunately, circumstances happen. We get it. You had all this money down. People have bills to pay. I get it. But nevertheless, it would not hurt you. It would only make you more money to let him come in and finish it, especially in this situation. There was a lot of speculation whether or not putting Snyder Cut into the theaters would actually lose money for the studio. But going straight to streaming, you don't have to put up all that money for promotion. I mean, this thing, the Snyder Cut, has been trending almost every day for like a year now. So it is its own promotion. I mean, Zack Snyder's been promoting it himself on Vero of all platforms. People have been getting Vero specifically to follow the Snyder Cut action that's going on, and people who are fans of DC, the DC universe, there's only been like two things that have propped up our attention towards Warner Bros. And DC EU. It's not been Joker. It's not been this upcoming The Batman movie, because those aren't even DC EU. It has been the Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover with Ezra Miller, regardless of his April Fool's prank that everyone seems to forget was April Fool's, or the other thing that's propped it up has been the Snyder Cut. So, like, people calling for the Snyder Cut, bring in Henry Cavill. They gave this project for the HBO Max for the Snyder Cut. They're giving Zack Snyder $30 million to finish this film. He has a ton of the footage already, but I think he wants to shoot the scenes with Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern. Whether or not he already has those scenes, I'm not certain. I'm sure Movies with Mar could tell you that, actually. So if you go to his page and you just write him, just, hey man, was this finished? Do you know about this? He's a cool guy. He'll actually like communicate with you and be like, you know what? Here's what I know. Great dude. And the dude is loyal, dude. He's faithful. He's been here since day one. But yeah, so like everyone has corroborated the Snyder Cut up till now. Many people were skeptics. I think the last straw that broke the camel's back, or rather Warner Bros. Back, was when it finally got the attention, when it finally called the attention of John Campea. And when John Campea finally, because he's probably the biggest name in film punditry right now, even over Collider, I would say, because he was Collider, he was Collider, and then now he's his own thing. But John Campea, when he got on board with the release the Snyder Cut thing, and he started to promote it and just say, just drop it on HBO Max, this is what we need. That's when HBO was like, all right, it's time. And plus, no one's going to the movies right now, so this is going to be the only way they're making money. This is it. Like everything is on streaming now, so you might as well launch your new streaming platform like everyone and myself have been saying for some time now. Just drop it on HBO Max. That's how you're going to get people to sign up. Even if they unsubscribe initially, the other content you have along with the Snyder Cut, whether it's released as one big movie or the 2 or 3 films that it was supposed to be originally, because I think Snyder wrote it as a trilogy, I think, and then they told him, no, cut it down to 2. So then it was going to be like Infinity War and Endgame. And then they eventually, when Whedon came on board, they're like, we're just going to make it one thing. Who cares about Apocalypse? Who cares about Darkseid? Who cares about Apocalypse? We're just going to do freaking Steppenwolf, and we're going to make him completely unrecognizable visually. He's going to be a gray blob with a horned helmet, like freaking Ares. It's gonna basically be the most forgettable villain you've ever seen. So no, it's better. Let's just get what Zack Snyder was gonna do. Let's see how that comes out. If it comes out like crap, it comes out like crap. But hey, we get the Snyder Cut. I'm excited for that. I'm really into that. If you give me like an alternate version, I don't know if you guys remember X-Men Days of Future Past. That you probably do. That movie has an alternate version. It's called the Rogue Cut, where the character Rogue, played by Anna Marie Paquin, if I'm remembering her name, she actually comes back, and she has several scenes in the movie where she's actually the main character that goes back in time, not what was supposed to be either Shadowcat or then Wolverine. She actually ends up being the main person going back in time and helping the adventure in the past coming back. And so that cut is really awesome. It did not make theatrical cut. They spent a little extra money to make sure those scenes got put together as an actual alternate version of the film. But I'm all about that. Make those alternate versions happen. I'm totally down. They did it for Watchmen with Zack Snyder. Warner Bros. Did it with Zack Snyder on another superhero franchise he did. They did an alternate director's cut version. They actually did 2 different versions of that director's cut. In this case, it's the same thing. It's the same studio. It's the same director. It's the same idea. Superhero film franchise gets an alternate version. Just let it happen. People are going to pay for it. People are going to be happy. We're the customers after all. So I know there's plenty of people that aren't going to buy it. But guess what? You already shot more than 80% of that film. You get $30 million to wrap it up, edit it together, finish the effects, the audio, that kind of thing. Maybe shoot a couple of extra scenes with Henry Cavill. If you can get Ben Affleck back in the suit, despite the fact he came out on Kimmel and said I'm done, all the better. That's super cool. Just let it come together. Let it have a nice happy ending. Whether or not it's better or worse than the Whedon cut is irrelevant. People are gonna pay to see it, and you're not gonna have to fork out a lot of money. You're only paying $30 million for this rendition, and you're basically gonna put no money down on marketing. Like almost nothing. So it's a win-win for the studio. I mean, you're going to make a killing on this. People are definitely going to see this. Really, really excited. So I'm not going to linger too hard on this. Just I want to go back over and just show you guys the tweets. This is HBO Max's official page, okay? So this is how you know it's verified, by the way. It's HBO Max's official page says release the Snyder Cut only on HBO Max 2021. And they tagged Snyder and they put the actual website here so that you can see that as well. I'm going to go ahead and pull this one up too so you can check that out. Boom. And this is the Warner Media website. So you can see that it is in fact coming. Los Angeles, it says May 20, 2020, which was when this article was released. After global passionate fans calls to action and the Release the Snyder Cut movement, HBO Max and Warner Bros. Pictures announced today that it will exclusively world premiere Zack Snyder's director's cut of Warner Bros. Pictures DC feature film Justice League in 2021. That's a mouthful to say, but basically it's coming in 2021. Snyder surprised fans with the news this morning during a live online commentary of his film Man of Steel with Henry Cavill. That movie is amazing. It's super cool and super exciting the way that they broke the news to the fans. There was a big time watch along. I don't know if they're going to mention it here, but I think it was during the Geeks and Gamers watch along. You guys know Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. He's like, hey everybody, it's Jeremy coming to you with another video, and today we have a video, the Snyder Cut. And like that kind of, I love his accent, and I actually do quite enjoy his videos. I don't agree with him on everything, but he's spot on about, for instance, Kathleen Kennedy in Lucasfilm. I disagree that she needs to step down from her position as executive producer. I do agree that she needs to step down as creative officer. That role should be split up. They should split that. But anyway, that's a separate topic. I do enjoy their videos actually, but again, don't agree with everything, but that's okay. That's not what it's all about. So anyway, you guys can enjoy all of this. So much here. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna read this part. It says here, quote from Snyder, I want to thank HBO Max and Warner Bros. For this brave gesture of supporting artists and allowing their true visions to be realized. Also, a special thank you to all those involved in the Snyder Cut movement for making this a reality, said Snyder. Really, really cool. It shows that the studios and the filmmakers, despite their clear and obvious falling outs and problems, can still come together for the love of money. And that's a good thing for us who are willing to pay to see these kinds of things. I'm definitely going to watch the Snyder Cut. You could bet on that. I'm going to do that. In fact, I'll probably even make multiple videos on the topic, and you'll get my thorough thoughts on the entire project. I'll probably even do a comparison of thoughts from the Whedon cut to the Snyder Cut, so that we can bounce it back and forth and talk about the pros and cons of both, and which one I think is better and which one you think is better. That'll be a lot of fun. I've never done a watch along. Maybe we could do a watch along at some point. I don't know if that's legal. Perhaps we'll find out. I'll look into it. But yeah, so really, really cool. I'm honestly kind of floored at like the fact we're getting this. You know what I mean? Because I know I've talked with friends online, other YouTubers. We've had discussions and debates about whether or not fan casting, for instance, you guys know I do a ton of fan casting on this channel, whether or not fan casting is good, or is it fans being spoiled? And I think, for one, as long as you don't expect it to happen, it's totally just fun and games. It's fine. It's fun. It's like imagining, oh, this guy he would be really cool in that role because of this or because of that, or because of his physical dimensions, or his previous career, what he's known for doing, his skills as an actor, or even a stunt performer in certain cases. I think fan casting is a blast. It's so much fun. I don't think it's a problem at all. But some people I've talked to, share perfectly valid opinions, stating that fan casting, for instance, is not. It's basically fans being spoiled, thinking they can get their way, now, or thinking that they know better than the actual filmmakers or actual casting directors. I will say this. Based on some movies and films that we've seen, I would say that fans, in some cases, are in fact better than the actual casting directors. If you see a film that turns out like garbage and the acting is garbage, you already know that there's plenty of other options that probably would have worked better. It's not always the actor's fault. Sometimes it's script, sometimes it's writing, sometimes it's the environment they were trying to make the film in. The direction could suck. Actors could have been having a horrible day. But the end result is what matters. Did it come together, and did the actor perform when they were asked to? And I could give a couple of examples of that. I'm not trying to pick on anyone, so I won't. I'll keep my mouth shut on this one. But in the same spirit, who's paying for the film? Who's paying to make the film, to keep the films coming? It's the fans. The fans are, at the end of the day, I think they're customers, right? We're all customers for these films. People will make films that they can afford unless they know that if they invest a lot, they'll get a good return. If they believe they can get a good return, then they will make that film and they'll put a bigger budget on it. That's why the Avengers didn't start with the Avengers. It started with Iron Man. They started small, worked within their means, and then built and built and built, and allowed the projects to continue to fund themselves by the fans pouring out and being like, this was awesome. This is everything we wanted as a fan. As a fan of Iron Man, this was so satisfying. As a fan of, the Incredible Hulk, we love this iteration, or we love this movie. It was really cool. We want another one we never got. Like Thor, Captain America, the list goes on and on. It just continued to pay off for the fans. So in the case of, like, for instance, Marvel Studios, that works tremendously. And it shows that if you give people what they want, they buy it. That's the whole supply and demand thing. If you give someone, that's why some people hate on capitalism. I think it's because they don't understand. It's not about like taking people's money. It's about giving them something they want, and they will exchange it for cash. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's about what you can offer so that you can get that return. It's not about just getting return. You don't get anything if you don't offer anything. Otherwise, that's theft. But trade, bartering, it says, I have this movie and it's awesome for comic book fans, or for, in this case, DCEU fans that are a little bit closer to the direction of Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight. Not that these films are as good, clearly not, but nevertheless, like, going for a slightly more realistic take on superhero concepts, that idea, going in that direction, it works. So people spend money. People spend money on what they want, and if you can make the customer want it, or if you can show them something that they want, they'll buy it. And so I think in the same way, fan casting works similar. It just says, this is what we want. If you can provide it, I'll buy it. It doesn't mean that if they show you something else you also like, you won't buy that. It's not saying I'm not going to buy anything unless it's my way. It's not my way or the highway. That's not how fan casting works. It's just fun. It's just like, this is what I would want. Give me something, anything close to this, and we got a deal. You know what I mean? And that's kind of what this operates like. To tie this back to the main topic, this releasing the Snyder Cut is the fans crying out for Warner Bros. To just let the right way happen. The right way was to let the filmmaker that started the project finish it. Even though there was a massive delay, like I'm under great sympathy for Warner Bros. In that situation. They were in a tight spot financially. They had to make that return happen. They couldn't wait forever, and they couldn't ask Zach to come back early either. He was grieving the loss of his daughter. So in that sense, they were in a massive pickle. They had to try to solve the problem, and the only way that they saw out was Joss Whedon coming in to wrap it up, in the only way that he knew how to do, which is different, obviously, than what we are going to get with Zach's version and vision. So I'm down. Let's get both. I don't care. I love Days of Future Past. I also love the Road Cut. It doesn't matter to me which one is better. I frankly think the original version is better, but I cherish the Road Cut. It's also a lot of fun, and it's a different take on the story, which is also great because you're dealing with a multiverse, or you're dealing with time travel, and you're dealing with like alternate futures and things like that. So not necessarily multiverse, but like time streams. So in that respect, that's kind of how I feel about this. So one last note is, this is just Zack Snyder acknowledging it as well, in case you had any more doubts. This is real. Release the Snyder Cut, HBO Max. And then he has the banner that says 2021, only on HBO Max, and it's scaled. I think that's what 9:16 or 16:9 or something, so that you can put it on the story on your phone. You just download the image and put it on the story, and then you can share it with everybody. Very smart, so that people can start sharing that, because you and me, we become promotion for this event. You and me become the ones that tell all of our friends, Snyder Cut just got confirmed. It's real. We all texted each other. Everyone got a text from their friend pretty much saying like, hey, you know, dude, did you see about the Snyder Cut, or, you know, that kind of thing. And that's what's gonna happen on social media too. So it's pretty sweet. People are freaking out. I mean, you look at the comments here. Everyone's pretty much super stoked. Couple of people with some questions, obviously valid. I was not a fan of Doomsday. That was a crappy Doomsday, in my humble opinion. But the Ultimate Edition, I thought, added a lot of context to that, which I enjoyed. So again, and that's like where it comes in. It's like, release an Ultimate Edition because the studio made you chop it short. You know, that I'm totally down for alternate versions. The extended cuts of Lord of the Rings are such a blast if you have the time in the day to finish them. I love that. So to me, this is, but I want to hear your thoughts. So I'm going to wrap up this topic because we talked about it for a while, but I've also linked down below this IGN article, as well as the other one from Collider. And I did not tag the one from HBO Max, but it's linked in, I believe it's this article here. Yeah, so you can find this one. You just click on one of the hyperlinks here, I think it is. But yeah, so that's where we're at. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think about the Snyder Cut being released and coming out on HBO Max. Are you going to sign up for HBO Max? Are you going to sign up specifically to watch the Snyder Cut? And are you excited? Do you think it's a good idea that the Snyder Cut is being allowed to be finished? Or do you think they should have just left it at the theaters? You tell me, you be the judge, and let's move on to the next main topic. The next main topic is Timothy Olyphant will bear Boba Fett's iconic armor in The Mandalorian